serious,
really saying we
Catholic.
want to live by our Christian virtues, and
That's
of
right.
course they have issues with the LGBT transgender
Yes.
issue, and they pose it, and they pose it uh, vehemently. And what does Biden do? Who tell us, give us the profile of our ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Hungary.
Have mercy. Our U.S. ambassador to Hungary, in his confirmation hearing in the Senate, called Hungary a backslider of democracy, an authoritarian government, aligned uh, Orban with Putin and with China. This is this is how he started out, and you have to understand. Hungary is a country with a, like I said, it's a republic with a parliamentary system. They have a democratic constitution. You know, I've spent a lot of time in Hungary, 3 months last year in Hungary. And for example, nobody cares if you are a gay couple. My husband and I saw gay people walking around holding hands. Nobody cares. But the majority of the people are saying that's not what we want to decide for our children. And yeah, they do not uphold an LGBT agenda. That's true. I just say that to say, human rights are upheld
Well,
in Hungary.
isn't our ambassador also gay?
Yes, which I don't think is an accident by the Biden
Not
administration.
an
He's
accident.
married to a
It's
man.
not an
They have
accident.
2 children in Hungary. Again, the Hungarians would respect him and respect that, except he has gone out of his way the whole time that he is there to publicly rebuke and punish Hungary for their stance on these 3 issues that I've told you. With our money, by the way, they've rented billboards with our money to shame Hungary into wanting to support more money to the Ukraine war. And I can explain why they don't want to do that.
I do explain it.
Well, let me start out by saying I was in the Ukrainian refugee center last year in Hungary. They won't say how much, but they've taken in over 3.5 million refugees from Ukraine, many of whom they paid plane, train, automobile to go wherever in Europe that they wanted to go. But it was a very nice center set up. People were being taken care of to the ninth degree, veterinary care services, even, which, I'm a dog lover, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, me too.
But they first started out, were against Western sanctions on Russian energy because they're reliant on Russian energy. They're a small country, and they said it will crush our economy. They're trying to diversify, but can't do it that quickly. The other thing, Bill, is, and I've actually had the privilege to sit down with Prime Minister Viktor Orban with a group of other conservative leaders and talk to him about these things. He's a very thoughtful man. The other thing is, over 400,000 Ukrainians have been killed, some of whom are Hungarians ethnically. And
That's not a widely reported number in the
no,
United
it's
States. I've
no,
heard
it's
it's
not.
close. It could be closer to 1 million.
You know what? At this point, because this number I'm using from probably 6 months ago or so,
Well,
but
nobody
maybe
really
so.
knows,
Nobody
but it's
knows.
underreported.
Well, and I will tell you, my husband and I, living in Central Europe last year, we were seeing a lot of the real reporting, not the US BBC reporting that is propaganda to support the Ukraine war. We were seeing the horrific casualties that the Ukrainians were taking, the infrastructure that has been leveled. And Prime Minister Viktor Orban and I believe that Ukraine is not going to win this, that Russia is going to grind on and
Well,
on
you and
until
I
they
didn't think
devastate
we
it.
should get into this even 2 years ago. We thought
Two
we could
years ago, we
negotiate
talked
something
about
that would be a
this.
settlement that would
Yes,
satisfy Putin and get him to stand down, and this
that's
need
right.
not have happened. It need not have happened.
It need not have happened. That's exactly right. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it
were
was
there.
almost two
Remember
years ago.
this
We
is
talked about that, and we tried to get the U.S. to broker a peace deal.
yeah.
We're still not talking about a peace deal in the administration. This is crazy. It's
Well,
craziness.
now they're lobbying for what, another 60 billion as part of this so-called immigration bill.
Yes, and if you look at that bill, it also implies that we're going to continue ongoing to fund. So they know the war will be ongoing. Yes,
So the
60 billion.
so sticking
Another.
in Hungary, it's such a great what I'm hearing you say about the Hungarians is they're a generous people. They're not excluding, for example, the gay population. They just don't want to change their institutions. They don't
That's
want
right.
to change their laws. They want to make parents' rights uh, preeminent.
Yes.
And so long as that's the case, that they're tolerant of people, and they're also in Ukraine. It's not like they don't want to help Ukraine. They're helping them to the tune of bringing in 3 million
Yes.
people,
Yes.
but they don't want to supply arms to Ukraine, and they
Right.
don't think that that's the right
They
strategy in
don't.
dealing with this,
They don't.
which is very sensible.
But Bill, we are trying, and the EU is trying to strong arm them into supporting the war. The EU, just last week, there was this confidential document that the Financial Times found that showed that the EU was actually planning to destroy Hungary's economy because Orban at the time would not support this $50 billion loan that the EU wanted to take up for Ukraine to continue it. They were talking about the EU wanted to discourage investment into Hungary, devalue the currency. And anyway, um, they've sanctioned Hungary previously on COVID emergency funds, all funds that Hungary has actually paid into the EU already. So it's been quite a battle.
Well, and Orban's hanging strong now. Unfortunately, Orban and Trump like each other,
Yeah, they're
so that's
friends.
another rap against.
That's right.
But
That's
but
right.
he's really I hate you. It's a Hungary first strategy, but
Yes.
most a lot of the other European countries are beginning to wake up to that. At least the people are.
I think you're right about that, and that's actually one of Orban's 12 points I do put in my book because I think they're very practical strategy on how to keep your country sovereign, conservative, focused on traditional values, family values. Um, One of those points is to put your country first. Yeah, just like America First policy, Hungary First policy. It makes sense.
So he's written this out, and for everybody interested, and everybody should be interested, you can see all the elements of what he sees as a way to preserve self-determination
Yes.
and your values right here.
And it's in the last chapter, and there are things we all can do, like support conservative organizations, which you're doing today by helping me, spread the word about the work at Counterpoint Institute, to start organizations like that, like I'm doing, to take the media back, like what you're doing. So there's things in there everybody can do, and I just think we need to do it on a larger scale as people that want to preserve our culture and our country.